Yeah.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm Chris Woolley, and this is Let's Develop. So, if this is your first time joining us, welcome. So, this is a bi weekly webinar series where basically we bring in super cool photographers and we talk about photography related things. So, we're definitely learning, sharing with our community, and just building up our skill sets. Do want to give a shout out to American Color Imaging. Thank you so much for helping put this on and get the word out and giving us some cool prizes and stuff to give away. So, be sure to stay to the end because we're giving those away. We do have a new episode that comes out every 2 weeks. So you can go to acilab.com/let's-develop or just go to ACI's website and click on the picture of my face and you can see the lineup that we have there as well as register for upcoming shows. If you did happen to miss the last one, David Lloyd was talking about selling the fantasy. So looking at the art, the costuming, the post-processing, all of that goes into creating some fantastic artwork. That live replay is now available. So go to acilab.com to check it out, and you can see what you missed out on last time. So today is going to be a lot of fun. We've got Sharon here, and she's going to be sharing information with us about photo adventures, and she is definitely the photo adventure lady. She's a master photographic craftsman. She's a landscape, nature, wildlife, ocean, and surf photographer, former model, both on print and TV. And basically now she gets to travel the world doing really, really cool photo stuff, guiding workshops. I got to very first meet Sharon on the Board of Governors for the American Society of Photographers. She's definitely in the industry and knows her stuff. And we are crazy, crazy lucky to have you here today, Sharon. So thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, thanks. Thank you so much. I am way south in South America at the moment. I'm in Colonia, Uruguay. Most people don't even know where Uruguay is. So
Yep. So if we do happen to see like the webcam freezing like it is right now, that's totally okay. She's dialing in, so we've got good voice that's on here. So it's not your internet connection if she freezes up. It's going to be Sharon because she's from South America right now. She just wrapped up a photo adventure. What was it, to Antarctica that you did?
just before Argentina, yes, we just wrapped up an amazing 19 days in Antarctica, South Georgia, the Falkland Islands, and all the way back around. We started in Ushuaia, Argentina, and it was pretty amazing. It was just an epic adventure. So had a group of 10 people, and we just had an amazing time going to places that totally untouched, except just our few footsteps that we had on the peninsula. And of course, that was a challenge in itself, because when we'd go down to the bottom of the ship, you would have to rinse off your shoes, you would have to disinfect. So it was great. And seeing over a million penguins in one place was just pretty epic. So
that does sound
yeah,
really, really epic. So what are we talking about today?
Yeah.
What does photo adventures mean?
Well, photo adventures means, grab your camera, pick a place to go, do a little research, and pack it, and let's do it. If you don't, I put together photo trips and adventures, and sometimes I custom make them for my clients. And if it's something that you want to do or where you want to go, even if I don't have it on my agenda, let's just put it together and do it. We'll do it together. I've pretty much traveled all over. There are still some places I have not gone, and I'm willing to explore them. And that's why I'm still here in Argentina, because I had not actually gone through Argentina before. So after we got off the boat, the ship in Ushuaia in Argentina, I was at the end of the world. So I thought, okay, let's start at the end of the world and work my way up to the north through Argentina. Why not? So, and then after, I mean, we spent a lot of time in Bariloche. We made our way over to Rio Grande and then up through Mendoza, which, if you've never been to Mendoza, it's the capital of winery in Argentina. So I think I've drank maybe a case of wine by myself. It's like I would take photos of the wine bottles and the wine glasses at night. So it was amazing. And we got to stay in this hotel that was in the middle of the vineyard. And then to find out that the actual name of the vineyard, there it is.
Yep.
And the winery was called Gaia. And Gaia is the Greek word for Mother Earth. So I felt right at home, like everybody was calling me Gaia, because there's only 14 rooms total in this hotel. And they were like, oh, you're our Gaia, you're our Mother Earth. So it was fun getting to know people. And I mean, this is what I do. These are places that I go, I visit, and then I'm like, okay, this is where I want to bring my people. This is where I want to bring other photographers, other people that just want to travel and have a good time. So I kind of try to pre-explore those places, if that makes any sense. And then I'm like, okay, let's go. I'm going to put together a trip here. And being that I've been there first is giving me a better explanation to tell you what it's about and what to expect, what to pack, what kind of camera you need, what is the element of the outdoors, so the settings, the topography of what we're going to see.
So that's kind of helpful having a guide, somebody that's actually walked the path, and that's a photographer that says, hey, this is the lens that you're going to want, or make sure you bring this item. You'll wish you had it.
Yes, I won't say nearly, every one of my adventures has a packing list, a clothing list, a lens selection list, because I have been there. So it's something I give you I give it to you in a Word doc so you can conform it to the way that you want it. So if there's a lens you didn't take, or if you just want to put it out in parentheses off to the side, and it's something that you can keep forever and adjust it to all your travels. Doesn't matter if it's camping or going to the beach or to the snow or, traveling here to Argentina or being on a ship in Antarctica. Kenya, everybody says, or South Africa, Botswana, Namibia. I've been to all those places, and those are part of my tour packages. And, they're always like, what do I pack? And I was guilty of this at the very beginning. I'd always pack way too much, and then I'd not have room for my souvenirs, because you're going to buy a lot of souvenirs. You want to, because sometimes this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that you get to go to these places. And, I try and I hope that my clients and my peeps that go with me, and I just feel that I want them to feel that this is their bucket list and it's something they can check off. And I do everything I can for you to walk away and say, that was an adventure of a lifetime.
So what are some things that we should be bringing if you're going to go on a photo adventure?
Well, depending on where you're going. And of course, let's think about winter right now. We're going into winter in the United States. We're going into winter. I'm going into spring and summer here. So we're in winter. So I think protecting your camera gear is what's very important. I'm a big supporter, and they're not my sponsors, and I love the Donkey wraps. It's Domke, Donkey. And you can get them at most camera stores because they have a waterproof side to them, and the other side is a warming side. It's not heat proof, but you can add a hand warmer, say for instance, and there's Velcro on all four sides of the donkey wraps. And you wrap them around your cameras, and you can stick a hand warmer in there to save your battery life and protect layering your clothing. You should always layer when you're going out in the wintertime. It's easier to take off than not have enough layers. So I always kind of like tell everybody, layer with a good body next to you, a heat or a chilly and insulated underwear. And then from there, you would layer with another top, turtleneck preferably, jeans, cotton things you should stay away from. You want to look at wools. Merino wool is great. So I go through all these things with you. Socks, wool socks. I always pack extra socks because if your feet get wet, you want to take a Ziploc baggie and put your wet socks in and put a dried pair of socks on when you get to the Jeep or the van or whatever we're traveling in. So a lot of times people forget about these things, and your hands are important. Just having that hand warmer in your jacket pocket, and you've taken your glove off to operate your camera, and then you're able just to stick that hand warmer right in your glove, and your hands are, really warm. So things like that, head warm, neck warm, feet warm is what I kind of say, just working from top to bottom.
Do you have a favorite lens that you love to take on your adventures?
Well, I'm a Nikon shooter, and I shoot with the Z7 II. It's a mirrorless. I do have a backup. I have the Nikon D500 as my backup, so I have to carry two sets of lenses if I take the D500 as my backup. My mirrorless camera, I absolutely love it, and I can tell you the difference. If I'm editing my image, I can tell you exactly side by side what I shot with either camera. I love my 400 lens that I have on the mirrorless. It's just spectacular. I think it's a great range, especially for wildlife. And I have a 2.0 teleconverter that I stick on that. So that gives me like 900 millimeters with that 400. So it's a zoom. It's a, 100, 400. I have to stop and think what it was. Yeah. But it's the 100, 400 zoom lens. I was lucky someone let me borrow their 500 fixed lens in South Africa and Kenya. And I'm like, wow, this is an amazing lens also. But I think for wildlife, my 100, 400 is sufficient. It really is. Unless you're birding, then I fall back on my Sigma, which is 8600. And then if I need that extension, I have to put an adapter on it with my mirrorless. And then if I'm using it with my full frame, then I have a 1.7 teleconverter that I can use with that. I mean, it's a boat to carry around, and I understand why, so many people decided, mirrorless is the way to go. But if you haven't switched, then that Sigma lens is fantastic. It's the sports lens, and I really do love that one. My walk around camera is anything, that gives you a nice range of wide angle. If I'm shooting waterfalls in Iceland, then I'm going to want the widest lens I can get, a 12 or 14, something like that.
So it all depends on where you're at and what you're doing then.
Exactly. Yes. And that's something, even if you're not going with me, but it's part of your research for when you're deciding on where you want to travel. So if you're, traveling locally and you're going to the beach, you're definitely going to want a polarizer. You may want a graduated filter because as the sun starts to set, the top gets brighter and the bottom of the ocean is darker. So you'd want something in that graduated filter situation. So it just depends on where you're going and what you're going to do.
That's fair. So do we want to look through some of your photos and you can tell us stories and little anecdotes?
Sure.
All right. So I'm going to bring back up our slideshow, and I think we're maybe starting at Antarctica. Oh, that one's Argentina.
That's Argentina.
Yeah.
Oh, you want me to talk about the ones on the slideshow?
Oh, gotcha. I was switching here, but for some reason my computer doesn't want to play.
Okay, I'm glad it's not just me freezing up.
Oh, I know, right? Well, I'm trying things a little bit different today to get our slideshow that's up here. We'll come back to the ones that are rotating.
Yeah. Okay, this is Antarctica. That was Antarctica, where all the penguins were. There were over 500,000 penguins on this one island. I'm not exaggerating. These are king penguins, and they're pretty tall. And you could just stand there, and they'll just walk up to you. We couldn't touch them. They don't want you touching them because they don't want you, carrying any bacteria or whatever off to the animals. But this just went on and on and on. And you can see way back in the very back. It was just as far as your eye could see that you could see the penguins. And I asked one of the expedition leaders approximately how many penguins were here. And he said, there's about, 500,000 penguins here on this island. And so it was quite overwhelming. I just stood there in the middle of them, just gazing. And there were some chicks. They're real brown, the chicks are, and they still have their fur on them. And it's interesting how they stay in the middle kind of the herd of penguins. And they're protected just like any other animal. So they are watching them. And these guys were really close. I know it's hard to tell, but these three penguins kept following me around, and they would stop, and then I would stop, and you couldn't put anything down on the ground, but you could squat down as long as you didn't sit on the ground. And it was so interesting how they would come up and they just kind of look at you, and they were very curious. So it was fun. And when they started to get just a little too close, you were afraid that they might try to touch you or peck your clothing or something. Then you get up and then they kind of meander away. But it was amazing to be that close to such a wild animal that we hardly any of us ever get to see unless you go to a zoo, and it's not the same. It's definitely not the same. So
kind of a cool experience.
It's amazing experience, yes. And I know I'm still here. Something popped. I don't know what happened.
Yep. Nope,
but I'm still here.
Yeah, I've got some icebergs up here now.
Okay, the icebergs. Oh, wow. This is like Iceberg Alley. And Iceberg Alley, as we were on the ship, and we would get off on the Zodiac, and the Zodiac, we were right at, water level, and we were able to just cruise right by the icebergs, and it was just simply stunning. And it's amazing. They say that 3/4 of the icebergs are below the water, and a fourth of them are above water, and you don't realize how deep they are until you're just staring down into the water. So it's simply stunning. And again, another one of those epic experiences.
Yeah, I seem to have lost video from you.
Oh, okay, hang on.
Joys of being in another country. Hotel Wi-Fi.
I was so bragging about their internet today because we were on earlier testing it all out, and it was so wonderful. I'm here. Do you not see me? I see you.
Nope, I'm not seeing. I just see your telephone that's on here.
Okay, I can hear you.
Okay, we'll keep on going without your picture then. Hey, there we are. We're back.
Yeah. Okay, there's the iceberg. There we are. Okay. Sorry.
Oh, we're good.
Yes, this was amazing. I'm sitting on the edge of the Zodiac, and when I photographed this, and I was just amazed at how deep and how blue it was. The water is just crystal clear.
So when's the best time to visit the Arctic?
Well, I feel that November is probably, I know there's, you've got different times to go, but November's really good. And the reason I say that, weather was pretty reasonable. And there's one of the situations you have to be prepared for all types of weather, because when we left Ushuaia, it was not real cold, but when we started on the Drake Passage into Antarctica, I want to talk about the ice sheet. But so stay there, Chris. Stay on the ice sheet.
I'll stay here.
We get all the way down there, so you have to be prepared because it could be 70 or 60 degrees when we leave Ushuaia and you get down to Antarctica Peninsula in this area, and we have snow, and we had a little sleet, we had a little rain, and then you see we have gorgeous blue skies, but yet the temperature outside is maybe 23 degrees. So on the ship, they give you a parka, which has an insulated down lining. So you're prepared with that, and it is totally plenty warm. Just had a vest on underneath it with an insulated layer, and my gloves, and I have waterproof pants on. You need that because of going off and on of the Zodiacs. You do get wet. I won't lie there. You will get wet on the Zodiacs. And you have to put your cameras in a waterproof bag. So I use Unigear, if you're familiar with Unigear. They're a great bags to purchase. You can get them on Amazon. They're not really expensive. Get like a 20 liter or so, because then you can put your camera and 2 lenses in there, some wipes, lens wipes and stuff like that, a cotton cloth so you can dry everything off.
So it's not a waterproof housing that you need. Yeah. It's just a bag as you're getting on and off the ship?
Yes, that is correct. And then again, I use my donkey wrap on the outer side of that, which I call the rainproof, kind of wet-proof wrap. And I just kept it wrapped around there until I got ready to take a photo, and then I would unwrap it. And so it worked really well. Not a Ziploc baggie. You need something more than a Ziploc baggie. So,
a little bit heavier duty.
You don't want Ziploc baggies. Yeah, you don't want Ziploc baggies because you don't want them to fly off of the Zodiac too and land in the water or something like that. You don't want anything that, the wind can pick up and lose. So, and this is the ship. That was the ship, the Ocean Victory that we were on. It was about 189 passengers, and there was about 80 crew. And it was just it's long, sleek, narrow, and it was perfect for cruising in and out of the tight places. And we had a very, very cautious expedition leaders. They were very cautious with us on the Zodiacs. They were cautious with us with the weather. So it's something that, I think going through and having this experience, I am so happy when someone said, okay, it's too windy. We're not stopping at the Shetlands. It's too dangerous. Even though I was sad we didn't get to stop there. I know there's been news all over about an incident that happened, but yet our expedition leaders said, no, we're not stopping. It's too dangerous. And we went on. And so I appreciated that after, at
Better
the end.
be safe and come back home, huh?
Absolutely. And they were very, very cautious. So, but I want to talk about the ice sheet. So I don't know if a lot of you have even seen this. This is where a collection of ice just keeps forming, and it creates this huge sheet of ice. This is probably about 3 football fields, if you can imagine, 3 or 4 maybe football fields.
Wow.
And so the captain got right up next to the edge of the ice. And if you see the bottom right corner that's closest to us on the screen, that little indentation, that's where he bumped the ice sheet with the front of the bow of the ship. That's how close he got. And we're all on deck on top, or you're out in, some people were in their balcony overlooking this. And then all of a sudden we see a penguin, one penguin that you barely could see, that if you didn't have a long lens or a teleconverter on your lens, you couldn't even see it. And so it was an emperor penguin. So it was our first one that we had seen. And then all of a sudden we saw one more. So there were 2 on this sheet of ice that had that entire sheet of ice to themselves. So it was real cute to see these 2 small little animals inside this massive sheet. But I thought it was pretty spectacular.
Yeah, so I'm going to go backwards through here. I can go back and forth pretty easy, but if there's any oh, that one's the wrong spot, huh? There we go. Let's transport to a different area. Can you tell me about these waterfalls?
Okay. I think when most people think about Iceland, they think waterfalls, because it is the king and queen of waterfalls to me. So I was just in Iceland in October, and I thought I would get tired of seeing waterfalls, but I never really got tired of seeing them. So this is, I can't even pronounce the names because the waterfalls are Icelandic words. So if it ends in foss, like Stratafoss, that means it's a waterfall. And so, like every other one was something foss, and it was just, I couldn't get enough. It was just stunning and amazing. And the topography of it all, it changed from one region to the other. And we actually traveled the entire island of Iceland and out to the peninsula. And this is called like Elephant Rock. And some people call it Dinosaur Rock or Elephant Rock. And it's down right at the level of the beach, but yet you have to climb down if you want to take a picture like this at beach level. So I put on my Brave cap and put my camera, tucked it in to my body with my jacket, and I just like, okay, I just have to do it. I can't not come here and not go down where I want to get that image. As photographers, we push ourselves, and if you're scared of a spider and you see an image of that spider in that web, you're going to try to take a picture of it no matter what. So this is sort of like me on a lot of our photo adventures, is that if I see something and I want it, and I'm a little hesitant about going unless it's dangerous or there's a dangerous animal at the bottom of the trail, I'm not going to go there. But this wasn't, and I did it, and I got down there, and I got these amazing shots, but exactly what I wanted. So this was a slow shutter speed, as you can tell. This is a slow shutter speed also on that next one. this is the next image was, this is like Niagara Falls meets Iceland and Victoria Falls all combined. So there's a waterfall coming from the left, and there's all these waterfalls coming in front of you. And it was stunning and spectacular. It was just, you have to just stand there and take it all in. And again, here we are with, lens choice. I had wide angle lens, I had a 14 millimeter lens, and I had a polarizer on. And then I used a neutral density filter because I started to see a little water rainbow come in. So I wanted to pick up that rainbow with my neutral density filter. And clouds were in our favor that day. And this is not a far walk at all. So there's a beach also there along the, excuse me, it's along the southeast side of the island. And these are glaciers that have broken off. Hold on a second. These are pieces of glacier ice that has broken off of the glaciers and have floated out to sea, and they end up along the beaches. And the pieces of ice are huge. They're bigger than me. Some of them are 8 feet tall and 8 feet wide. And these pieces break off and they land on this black beach, and it looks like diamonds. So this beach is called Diamond Beach when they break up. And so you can just see them laying all over the beaches. There's again, stunning. I love it. It's a beautiful place, and it's the stop on the list every time that we go, weather permitting. And it's a fun place to spend, a couple of hours out there photographing these pieces of glass. So, which is actually ice, but it looks like glass. And
so when you were
this
using
day
your
was
ND
overcast.
filter on the waterfalls, what stop was that ND filter?
I was using I believe it's an 8-stop. I had an 8-stop neutral density filter. Yes. So I have a variety that I carry in a folder just in case I'm not getting what I want, but you need a 3-stop and up to slow that water down.
Now these are just absolutely stunning.
Thanks. Yeah, this was just, this waterfall. Okay. This waterfall is from the side, and you actually can walk behind the waterfall. So, I just loved this. I was just stopped on the side because I loved how the clouds, I loved the mountain, the texture in the mountain. You've got the greens, the blues, the water. And then, I kept going behind, and I didn't care if I got wet or it didn't. I had a rain jacket on. My camera was protected. It was just what it was. And then you keep walking, and you just get behind there where you don't have the spray from the waterfall. And so that shot from behind, again, is just amazing as this is. So
got a few more.
And okay, so ice caves. These are glacier caves. This is one of my upcoming trips in March for 2023. So we'll just talk about it while we're here. So this is Iceland again. It's about I think it's a 7-day trip. I'm sorry, I can't remember. I can't remember if it's 7 or 10. And this is the only time that you can go in these ice caves, glacier caves, because everything is frozen. And so we go with a guide and go inside, and we're able to photograph from inside the belly of these glaciers, which is just, again, amazing. And then we venture off to the waterfalls, and most of your waterfalls are frozen with the ice coming down and hanging. And again, you just slow the shutter speed down to get that silky, smooth water if you want it. And this is late in the afternoon. And it's just the opposite side of the image where I said it was like Niagara Falls. So this is that same waterfall.
Wow, just a different time of year?
Yes, this is March. This is only during March that you can go here.
That's the secret time.
That's the secret time. And I'll be going back in March, and I think I have three spots available, almost booked up for March already.
Now, this is so stunning.
So,
holy cow.
I know, and it's really fun. Now, this is when you really have to prepare for cold. So if cold is not on your bucket list, then, you know, but, you know, you want to get that shot. You want to go there. You want to experience it. And it's definitely one of those you can check off the bucket list and say, hey, I did it, you know.
Well, let's teleport to someplace warmer now.
Okay. Kenya. I love Kenya. I absolutely love it. I can never get enough. And I know people say, well, oh, how many times can you take a shot of a lion or a zebra or an elephant? And I'm like, you never know what comes around the corner. I mean, look at this gorgeous leopard. And that leopard was just, we happened to be at the right spot at the right time. We knew it was in that area. We waited. I'm telling you, wildlife is about patience. And Africa is about some patience. There's animals everywhere, but sometimes being patient pays off, because this guy was wandering around in the bushes, and we said, okay, we're going to pull here alongside this tree log this tree had fallen. So this was just like a big log laying there. The leopard comes out, takes a look at us. He kind of goes off into the bush, comes back, walks up the tree, looks at us again, and I swear I thought he was going to leap into the Jeep. And I had already grabbed a couple of people by the bottom of their shirt tails, and I said, hey guys, if he jumps in, you hit the floor. You know, I didn't know what would happen. And so they're like, are you serious? And I'm like, yes, I'm very serious. So he just looked at us, and then he turned around, walked back down the log, and he just decided, okay, I'm just going to lay down and take a nap. So he just stretches out right in front of us. And we just kept photographing him for almost an hour. He just was with us that long. It was just spectacular. We loved it. We actually had to leave because we had a surprise sunrise little dinner and drink that we were doing on the side of the river. So we actually had to leave this leopard behind. So I think you had another one there with Africa. Several. Good. Okay, this is the story. Yeah. Oh, this warms my heart so much. We were in Kenya, and we were at the Masai Mara, and we were visiting the local village. And in the village, we had finished visiting and doing what we wanted to do and buying their beads and things like that. And I'm walking back to our Jeep, and this little zebra just comes trotting up. And I looked at my guy that was with me, one of the Masai Mara guys, and I said, oh my gosh, where did this little guy come from? And he said, we don't know. He just comes up to the village ever so often, and he, you know, we don't feed him or anything. We don't know if he lost his mother. And I asked him, you know, is it okay if I pet him? Because he kept nudging me and following me around. And so I just squatted down, and he would just smell on my neck, and he kept trying to sniff my face. And it was just so adorable. I mean, to pet a wild animal like this was just amazing. It was. So it warms my heart to see this little guy.
Got an elephant here, a little video clip of him.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a video clip of this guy. So this is in South Africa, and it's on a private reserve north of Durban. And so you're in a night hide. So you stay inside this hide that's buried in the ground, and it's like a square building. And in the building, you can sleep. It has bunk beds, and it's about a 14-inch glass that you sit behind. So the glass is about 14 inches high. You have gimbals that you can put your cameras on, and you have great, comfortable chairs that are too comfortable because you almost fall asleep, and you don't want to fall asleep. But these animals come up to the water hole at night, and when they come up to the water hole, there are lights that are triggered, that are soft, like LED lights that are triggered that illuminate the water hole and the animal. And so you're able to photograph through the glass. You have to keep the glass clean ever so often. And it's just stunning images that you get from here. And it's definitely something that is a one-time experience also. And you have Cape buffalo that come up. We've had the lion, the jackal, the elephant, the giraffe. To watch a giraffe bend down and drink water, watch them spread their front legs and how they drink water right in front of you. Again, it's amazing. And you're only 20 feet from them, actually, but you're behind glass, so they can't see you.
And what's the story of this elephant? Or these elephant pictures?
This was a herd of elephants. I decided this last year in Kenya to take my infrared. So this was an infrared image that I shot, and this herd of elephants were just walking by the Jeep. And it kind of reminded me of the elephant walk, If we could play the baby elephant walk music, this is kind of like how I felt. So, but this was again, open plains. You just happen to turn around, and here's this huge herd coming right by you. And you'd be surprised at how quiet they are. I've been photographing one thing and turn around, and there's an elephant right at the window. You don't even hear him. He's coming up to smell of you, and you don't even know that they're there. These just massive, giant animals. So
looks like
that
we
was quite
have
fun.
Some cool stuff, though. What's the story of the desert dancers here?
Okay, this is in Namibia, and if you've heard of the red sand dunes, which are at Sossusvlei, outside of Bedla Bay, this is a dry lake bed, and it is sort of like what I could compare to Death Valley, if comparing it to the United States, except you're down in this pan where these trees have died and are just these black trees up against this red earth. And it's just the light, when the sun rises in the morning, we were out there before sunrise. And then when the light starts to come and it just casts this glow. So you want to catch it as the light kind of starts to trickle down and then illuminates the red sand. But again, it's one of those spectacular places. And this is in Namibia, and we actually took a helicopter flight over the sand dunes, the red sand dunes. I don't know if you can pull up that little video clip.
Yep, I've got to find it real quick. We're going to come forward.
I know, and loading Chris full of images. Yeah, here we are in a helicopter. This is Sossusvlei, going over the red sand dunes. And it's pretty spectacular. Yeah, you just play it again there.
Yeah, that looks like so much fun.
Yes, and in the helicopter, the doors are off, so you have your seatbelt on, but you're able to just lean over and take these just amazing images outside the helicopter. So, wow. And I had an 8400 on here.
Go through and see if we can find some kind of domestic stuff now. Oh.
All right.
Lots of wine here, huh?
It's going to be hard.
That's your Argentinian wine?
Yes. Oh, I was trying to be funny, just showing you how much wine that there actually is.
There's lots of wine here. So got Alaska, huh?
So, yes. Alaska is on the agenda for 2023. This last year I went to the Iditarod in Alaska. So this is the Iditarod race, and it was their 50th anniversary. And right on the side of the street, there wasn't any snow, and they were thinking they were going to have to bring in snow. And you know what? Mother Nature called, and it snowed that night, and it snowed all night long. And they didn't have to bring in any snow at all for them to race. And there was plenty of it, as you can see, and it snowed the entire day. And this was the start of the Iditarod race here. And this is in Anchorage, Alaska. And we were there for 4 or 5 days. I'm fortunate enough, my brother lives just north of Anchorage, so we went there, and it happened also to fall on my birthday. So we were doing birthday and the Iditarod, and I was checking it all out because it's something I want to put on my photo adventure list for the future. So now I know where to go and what to do, And this is Yellowstone. This is Yellowstone. And this happened to be in May, believe it or not. This was May of just this last year. And there was another snowstorm that came through, and it snowed for 2 days. And this one day I was completely in four-wheel drive. So there again, you have to be really prepared and research where you're going because weather can change at any time. And especially Yellowstone, Alaska, Antarctica, places like that, and depending on the time of the year. And but he was coming right at us. We were just parked and stopped, and a herd was behind us. And then this guy decided he'd come right at the side of our door. But then he turned and went off. We just stayed still, stayed in the car, kept the cameras in. And he just then went about his way. But you have to be quick. Wildlife, you've got to shoot at a fast shutter speed. You got to be ready, because you just never know what's going to fly in front of you, walk in front of you. And, I'm a terrible birder, though. I still can't get the birds in flight and even with my bird tracker, I still can't. But these big guys I had no problem with. And this is at the pristine springs that are there, just south, going out towards the south gate. And there's Old Faithful. We went again. And of course, down in the Tetons, the beautiful barn that is there. And, when you're that close in Yellowstone, you have to sneak out the south gate and go to the Tetons just to go to the barn and back if you have to. But it's well worth it. Yeah. And that next shot, that's actually, that's February, and that's in Yosemite National Park in California. And this is during the firefall. And this if you don't know about the firefall, this is something that is a natural phenomenon that only occurs about 2 weeks in late February. So about the 12th through maybe the 30th or the 25th of February. I usually try to go in the middle. And again, it depends on rain, depends on the weather, and it depends on how much snowfall that you've gotten. And the sun, it can be cloudy. The sun has to hit this granite wall. And with enough water that is flowing over the edge of the ridge, when the sun hits the granite wall, it reflects this at sunset. And it is a split second. So there's probably about a dozen locations that you can go to, but they're usually really crowded, and especially on the weekend. But during the week, it's the best time to go. I try to, get everybody there during the week. And then that Saturday, if it's really crowded, we're off shooting a sunset along the river or something to avoid the crowds, because it gets really crazy and crowded. So this is like one of my favorite places to go. My back door at Yosemite National Park, Yellowstone too. I drive to Yellowstone, drive to Yosemite. Then of course I'm living in Lake Tahoe, and I need to scope out Lake Tahoe, right?
Yep, your own backyard.
Oh.
I was flipping through a couple more here. We're just about out of time, and we do have a couple of questions that are starting to come through, and I've got some prizes and stuff to give away. So I'm going to flip through a couple more of these so we can see some of your adventures here. The lion and the the hot air balloon. That's hot a pretty good timing.
Kenya. That was, and we were moving. We were moving in the Jeep.
Hopefully faster than the lion.
Yes. There's another one of the images from the night of the lioness that came up. You get a little artsy when you start to see so many zebras, and so you start to look for different things to photograph. So I always try to get everybody into a little artsy mood and try to find things that are out of the ordinary.
Yeah, stuff that's kind of fun and a little bit different to do. So I'm going to give away some prizes real quick, and then we'll come back and talk about some of the photo adventures and how those work and all that fun stuff. So
okay.
Let's start. I've got a $50 lab credit to American Color Imaging because we love ACI. So $50 lab credit. Let's see who the winner on that one is. We're going to spin.
I love your image there.
Yep. Isn't it fun? And we got Misty. Congratulations on that one. And let's go to our next prize. We've got a $75 lab credit. So our $75 lab credit. And looks like Danny on this one.
Yay!
Yeah. And now we've got our final prize, a $100 lab credit. So let's see who's winning this one. And that one's Robin. Congratulations on that. I do also want to let you know about a special that ACI has going on right now with Background Town. You can get 70% off of the fleece backdrops. We're actually really, really cool. I've been playing around with one, and I'm quite impressed with it. So use the special code good until January 7th. I'll also email you out this code so you don't have to try to remember it. And our next episode, the final one of the year, is going to be James Flashbird. Going to be talking about connecting with your clients when doing wedding photography. So how to form a connection, bond with them, so be on the same page. So that one's coming up, and registration is open on that one as well. And if you do have ideas of things that you'd like to see on this show, or special speakers, anything like that, be sure to reach out to me. That's how we come up with our content for here. And we do have an exciting season coming up next year. A lot of great photographers are going to be joining us on that front too. But let's come back and chat with Sharon a little bit more. So the big question, want to know about upcoming workshops that you have, and how do we go about doing that? So I'm going to pull up the slide graphic that we can.
Okay.
See if I can find the next one. There we go. Hey, this has our upcoming photo tours that you have.
Okay, so one thing, all of my adventures are not workshops. They are adventures, safaris. If we do a day of instruction, I know that gets brought up a lot with photo competitions, if everybody uses their images. So if we do an instruction day, we notify you up front for that instruction day, and then you can use your images thereafter. So I make sure that, we don't do a lot of one-on-one. I advise you to know your camera before you go, and let's take care of all that stuff, before we leave, so that you can use these images for a competition.
Okay, so
we have a lot going on. So.
Yeah, where are you going?
Oh boy! So we start out February is for Firefall, and spring. Winter still, maybe a little, not quite spring, but winter in Yosemite, and then we head to Iceland in March for those frozen waterfalls and ice caves. And then in the spring, in May, is Yellowstone. And then off to Alaska in July. We'll be going to Juneau. We'll be photographing eagles. And eagles are like pigeons in Juneau. I can't tell you. They're like on the power poles, the light poles. They're like pigeons that we have in New York. They're everywhere. So we have eagles, whales, and then we have grizzly bears on going to Alaska. And then September is Kenya. I have 2 trips that are back-to-back Kenya. They're the same identical trip. They're just 2 different times. So I'll be in both of those. And Tony Corbell is joining David and I in September on the September Africa trip. So if you know Tony and you want to wag along with Tony, then he's joining us on that one. And October we'll be back to Iceland, and you'll see we'll do the whole entire Iceland and the peninsula. And if you want, this particular group I do with David Leneve. He's part of California Center for Digital Arts. So all of these trips here, David and I do together. And then my South Africa and Botswana, which is not on here, I do those in June and July. And if you want to know about those in particular, that's where my night hides are. And then that's in South Africa. And then Botswana is on a riverboat where we're photographing a lot of elephants and hippos and birds. So all of this you can see more in detail. It's on my website. Chris, do you have my website up there?
Yep. Oh, the picture's covering it. But yes, I'm also emailing it out to everybody as well. But I can turn off your picture real quick, and we can see SharonLobelPhotography.com.
There you go. There you go. It's my name, photography.com. And you can email me or call me. If you want to custom put a trip together with a group, I do that also. So, I'm around. I'm here. I'm traveling. I'm
cool.
Going.
And we've got 2 last questions that are kind of combined. Do you have an approximate budget that somebody should have for going on one of these budgets? And do you have a recommendation for an adventure on a budget?
Yes. Of course, depending on where you want to go and how much you want to spend. Like Yosemite, we'll just do the range. So you're looking at spending anywhere from $1,500 up to could be $16,000, depending on something elaborate like Antarctica or Kenya or Africa. South Africa is pretty reasonable. It's around 5,000 plus your airfare. When I say these prices, most of them all include your meals, and they're all inclusive. Your hotels, your meals. If we're traveling through Iceland, you're looking at approximately 6,000, give or take, somewhere along in there. Yellowstone is about 3,000. So things are, somewhere within that. If you're traveling on a budget, if you want my input, if you want me to put something together, I can do that. Tell me what the budget is. If you want a trip with my guidance or without my guidance, I can put you in touch with locations. I'd love to go with you. I'd love for you to go with me. But I'm here to help you, and we can arrange a lot of different things. Most of my Kenya trips, I have found that you go that far, and Kenya's like, for me, that's like Africa. It's like 5 to 6 national parks that we stop and we see and we tour and we photograph. And when I say photograph, it's getting after it. It's getting up, going out and photographing all day, coming in, taking a quick lunch and a nap. Sometimes we're on something that we don't want to give up our time, and we have lunch brought to us out in the field. So it's on the savannah, we're sitting out there having lunch underneath an acacia tree. So it just depends, on all the different things. I have seen really low budget safaris or trips, and it's very low budget. So,
you get what you pay for, huh?
Exactly.
So it sounds like there's a nice range. If you're just getting started in the photo adventure stuff, doing something domestic might be a good choice to kind of get your feet wet, explore some of our beautiful country. And then when you're going on vacation, well, instead of going on a vacation, go on a photo vacation and end up with a lot better souvenir photos or something a little bit more exciting than Disneyland, huh?
Yes, a lot.
Well, thank you so very much. We're out of time officially, so thank you for joining us. I know it's late there in Argentina, and I appreciate you putting up with us and all the tech issues that we had with the cross country broadcast. But we were super lucky to have you, getting all sorts of raves in the comment section about how cool it was. So thank you so very much.
You're more than welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time. And stay warm and safe.
Okay, have a good night. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.